Welcome to another episode of Voices. My name is Augustine Ambe, and you are?
Rogers Akembo.
All right, Rogers. Many people are expecting us right now to talk about, what has happened with the interim government and Siseko. But I want us to talk about something else before we get to that, okay? And what I want us to talk about is, when we talk of our struggle as the people's struggle, there is nobody called the people. The people is me, the people is you, the people is Siseko, the people is Gojidinka, the people is Bobga, the people is Pamukong, the individuals, the BBC, you know what I'm saying? I'm calling this name because these are individuals in the people who chose to say, okay, I don't like this thing, I'm going to do something about it. And they started, okay? Like Bobga and even when they say the lawyers, it still goes down to individuals. Because Bobga decided that he's going to ask some questions. And one of the big questions that he asked, and it started this revolution or made La Republic go silent, is show us the Treaty of Union, show us the document of union. Is that what he called it?
The Act of Union.
Show us the Act of Union. And the reason I'm bringing this is because this struggle, I want us as individuals to know that this struggle is each and every one of us. It is not anybody else. You know what I'm saying? And the reason I'm saying this is because if we look at it that way, then we will be able to take initiative. We will not be waiting for initiative to come from anyone. We'll be able to contribute, knowing that our contribution, it goes to make what they call the funding of the struggle. We'll be able to defend the struggle wherever we are, knowing that there is no. So are you getting my point?
Yeah, I mean, you make it. Yeah, when you call it the people's struggle, that is what we have described it as. It is a people. You have always heard me say, the people have said this. This is what the people have said. The people have done this. I always refer to the people because that is what keeps this struggle going, what the people do.
And so in our system, the individual is very important. Everything starts from the individual. Mm-hmm. So we are now in La République du Cameroon, where we have francophones and anglophones, and some people think that when you say anglophone and francophone, it's a language thing. Okay? Mm-hmm. But I want us to understand that the reason I'm bringing this individual is that in our system, the individual is very important. Mm-hmm. In the francophone system, the state is very important. And so I want us to clarify a few things, because this is a struggle where we are fighting an enemy who does not understand why we're fighting, who does not understand who we are, who thinks that we are part of them, but in fact we are not part of them in any way, because you're a part of somebody because you share a language, you share a culture, you share something in common. And I wanted us to take this first part of this to talk about what the real difference is between Ambazonians and people of La Republic. In our system, the individual is very important. Okay? In La Republic, I'm just going to give these and then we can expand on them, because I really want us to expand on these. Because people who think that it's a language thing, no. And because they think it's a language thing, facts come out and they totally misinterpret them. And that's what I wanted to clear us here before we even go into the big news that happened yesterday with the arrest of Siseko. Because the reaction is totally different between the two camps. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. One camp is celebrating that, oh, they've arrested your Siseko. And we are here also celebrating that Nigeria has picked them up and they're going to put them into the legal system, and we're going to get some facts come out on our struggle. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to come to that. So I want us to spend some time, not a long time, but some time, clarifying the difference between Anglophones in La Republique's language and Francophones in their language. And I will start by saying, let's take it gradually. In terms of at the level of the state, what's the difference between Anglophones and Francophones at the level of the state?
Well,
or at the level of government? How do Francophones see government, and how do we Anglophones see government?
Well, it's something that you need to do, write a whole book or write a thesis on it. But let us just the Francophones, or people of the French culture, believe that the power comes from the state. It is the state that tells you, and that is why they rule by presidential decree. So the president is the supreme authority, and he gets to dictate whatever happens. In our own system, it is the people that has the power. Everything is decided by the people, and that is why you go from all of our traditional societies, and that is how we had the indirect rule system with the British, because we have talked about this a little bit. When the British came in, they saw the way we were organized. They said, no, we don't really have to try to break down whatever is happening here. We just need to build on it. So
because our traditional ways are very democratic.
They are very democratic.
Remember that last week we said if Francophones were allowed, if the French were out, the Francophones would be the same like us.
Yes, but so that is where that colonialism, because those cultural structures or those traditional structures are in all of our communities. But the breakdown comes in when the colonial master, the imperialists, come in, and with their system of education and their system of doing things. So the French came in with their Napoleonic ideas and everything, and raised and trained these people to think in a certain way.
Yes.
That you have to look up to the president. The president is demigod. You have to come down and bow unto him. When he speaks, every place has to shut down, and that is what they were taught.
Okay, so you're saying basically what I understand you're saying is that power comes from above.
Yes.
All right, and that has a background, and I think I've spoken about the background before, and we're going to really keep this really short, okay? Mm-hmm. And the background is that France is a big country in Europe right now, but it did not start being a big country. The Jacobins were in Paris, and the Jacobins expanded and colonized other people, and because they colonized other people, they never wanted to give them freedoms. Mm-hmm. And so they rule from the center, and so their system is totally designed to be ruled from the center. Mm-hmm. And it comes through a dictatorship. Mm-hmm. And I remember the other day I was saying that Charles de Gaulle actually understood this part, and he said that the French don't know how to deal with freedom. They don't know how to resolve their issues through debate and then resolve. And so they need a strong man who is there and muscling people around. Mm-hmm. In the English system evolved through consensus. Okay, and we can go to the 1608 British Revolution, but it came through a revolution, evolution, and through common law. Mm-hmm. And that's where the development of common law came. Mm-hmm. People were free. They don't need government. We've talked about John Locke. Mm-hmm. They don't need government. And government only comes in because people cannot protect themselves. Mm-hmm. And so in the English sphere, government is supposed to be limited. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because we can run our own lives without government. And the people of Ambazonia were very entrenched in this because we elected our MPs, and our MPs, because we elected many of them, then those MPs now form a government by making their leader who becomes the prime minister. Mm-hmm. So there was nothing like so a foreigner cannot even come and appoint who our prime minister will be.
No.
In La République, the Napoleonic courts came down, mm-hmm. and they picked Ahijo and planted him there, mm-hmm. and then be a puppeteer master after him.
Yes.
Okay?
That's exactly what happened.
And so we in Ambazonia, we believe that we are individuals and the change can begin with us. And that's why I started with the individualism, reminding our people that in this struggle, in our system, it's us who make things happen. We are not waiting for anybody else. You remember Gojidinka in one of our pieces said he alone called for commission of inquiries, 3 of them.
Yes, in the former
in Ambazonia.
Yes. No, in our former government.
Yes, before it took over.
Yes.
So that is at the level of the government. Now, at the level of education, what's the difference between us?
Well, the level of education too is that we are allowed to think. We are allowed to think, and in their own system of education, like it says in the
cooperation agreement.
The cooperation agreement, the state is going to design the system of, because remember, if the state wants you to think in a certain way, it is going to write your laws and write your books so that you should think in a certain way. So they start influence your thinking by the way they design your educational system, and that is why France insisted that they have to have that as part of that cooperation agreement, because they have to be able to
control what you learn,
think, yes,
and how you think, obviously.
Yes, exactly. That is the goal.
Yes.
Because if they can control how you think, to think and believe that power comes from the state, and the state is supreme, and the state is the authority, and you cannot question the authority of the state, then they have succeeded.
Yes.
But in our system, it is different.
In our system, it's individualism.
Yes.
And you know, even in this country, the schools are designed by the local districts.
Yes.
So you decide how you're going to teach your. I mean, we talked about homeschool one time. Mm-hmm. So you can even decide to teach your child at home. You don't have to go to any school. Okay. So in our system, we're more liberal in our education, and in the French system, you know, it was an education that was designed for colonized people. You know, I read some story where the French in Djibouti did not even allow the office clerks to see how the typewriter is fixed.
Yes.
Because these are people who came to colonize. And they know that you are intelligent. So they don't want you to learn anything. There's a document I read. And that document was very twisted. I'm going to fix that document I read. Before any French colonial administrator, and this was written in 1958, before any French colonial administrator went down to Africa, they gave him certain quotes. They said, don't be friendly with the people, don't greet them with your hand, don't smile in a particular way. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. And as I was reading that, was the same time they were signing this cooperation agreement. Mm-hmm. So they were looking at you as an inferior, and they want you to feel inferior by the way they treat you. And so the education that you're given is the same. You know, when I talked about education, I wanted us to. I jumped because we came out of government too fast. When you talk of government, you also include the legal system, and when you talk of Napoleonic laws, you know they have the Napoleonic codes also. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's a command system. In our law, in our legal system, help me define that. What's the difference between the French law and the common law that our lawyers are hitting their heads on?
Well, it is in practice, because I don't really know the details of that.
Well, let me say this. What I understand is that in the French law, again, it's a command law. Mm-hmm. Thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not. Mm-hmm. In our system, it's more what they call a common. It's a free system.
It's based on precedent.
It's based. What I wanted to say is that it's a free system. They will not make a law unless there's a reason to make a law. Mm-hmm. So if people are coming down, walking by the side of the street, and they're walking orderly, and people are not hitting at each other, there will be no reason to pass a law. Now, if somebody comes and hit at each other, and then there's a quarrel, and they take it to court, then they're going to look at it and say, okay, now we're going to pass a law that if you are heading north, you walk on your right. If you're heading left, you walk on this side. Mm-hmm. And then when somebody hits their head in some other part of the territory, then they'll remember that in location A, the judge decided it this way. Mm-hmm. So let's decide yours that same way because it worked there.
Mm-hmm. That was the precedent.
Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So our laws develop because of problems arising among the people.
Yes.
In the Francophone system, somebody is sitting somewhere and decided, how do I want this population to behave? Do I want them to eat corn or do I want them to eat beans? Okay, I'm going to make them eat corn on this day and beans on that day. And you better eat that corn, otherwise we'll send bee after you, right?
Exactly.
I don't know that this begin to clarify it. So what? Papa, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it is true because And it is all built on the education, because you start from the education. You start indoctrinating the children, telling them that the state is the authority, and this is what the state has said. If it's a gendarme, if the gendarme says anything, you cannot question it. He asks for your documents, you cannot tell him, you don't have any right to ask for my documents, because he is the state.
Yes.
If they come to your door and break your door and asking, you cannot ask them, why are you searching my house? Do you have a warrant? Like it is in the common. If you come in the common law system, you knock on my door, you can't break my door.
No, you can't.
You knock on my door, I open the door, and I ask you, sir, what do you want? You say, I have a search. Here is a search warrant. I need to search your house for this reason. I take the warrant and I look at it. It is signed by the judge. It is authorized by the judge. I say, okay, you can have access to my house.
Yes.
That is how it works. But in their system, where they are taught that the state has all the power, they can break into your house, they can arrest you, they can detain you without any question, without any reason, no probable cause. Because in the English law, common law system, you have to have a probable cause.
Yes.
And even if you detain somebody, you have 48 hours within which you have to
charge that
or
person, release them.
Or release them.
Yes.
If you can't charge them in 48 hours for a crime, you have to either release them or you have to go in front of a judge and tell the judge why you have to hold them again. So those are the differences in those systems. And that is what we are fighting for.
And in the English system, the powers are very divided. The judiciary has to be very different. I mean, autonomous.
Yes.
You know what? It's not controlled by the executive.
You don't appoint the Supreme Court judges.
You don't appoint Supreme Court judges. I think here the people actually elect them.
Yeah, here they elect the judges.
Yes. So you have to find a way that it is not government that is controlling the judiciary. I mean, here the process where the president can select somebody to the Supreme Court, and then the Congress would approve. Mm-hmm. But that person is, after that, he is alone. He can even impeach that. He can even. I'm trying to use a word that really works. He can sit in judgment of that same president.
Yes, because he is there to interpret the actions of the executive. Because remember, the judiciary is an independent branch of government.
Yes.
So even though he was appointed by the president, but he is an independent he is in the judiciary, and the judiciary reviews the executive actions and the laws passed by Congress. So they get to play that oversight role and decide whether these rules are constitutional or they are unconstitutional. The action that the president takes, is it constitutional or is it unconstitutional?
Yes.
You sit in a system where somebody is taken to court, somebody is arrested, detained for 1 year, and all of a sudden somebody comes out, he is the president, and said he has signed a decree that they should discontinue the judicial process. Where have you seen that?
So basically what we are saying is that the French system, especially that is in Africa, is a system that was designed to keep Africans down, to make those societies ungovernable, or to make those societies very dictatorial. With the English, when they came to Africa, they already had a colonial experience that has taught them that these colonies are potential nations that one day will be gone, and that's because they lost America. The British lost America. That was the first colony that was lost, and after that they learned. And so when they came to us, on the African colonies, they treated them as people who one day go, and so they treated them like free societies.
Yes. I mean, they knew that we were free people.
Yes.
I mean, they only came to exploit us. We were free people, and so they were going to build on those institutions that we had in place already. And when the time came for
them to leave, because they knew they would leave.
Yes, they left.
The French came with the policy of assimilation, which still keeps them in the place today. Mm-hmm. And so when we are leaving because of that. It's not because of language. Because you can find, when I see Francophones who speak English, right? But you still see the Francophone mentality that is regimented in their head.
Yes, no, because they learned the language. Culture is not just about the language. Language is an aspect of culture. And what you get taught then builds that culture into you.
Yes.
It's an experience. So if you can't learn a language and you haven't had that experience of freedom
or the education, then you just learn a language which you can transmit the same garbage that's in your head.
Yes, the thinking has not changed.
Yes.
Because, you just express yourself. but your fundamental ideas that you were taught when you were young is that this is how that you are guilty in the common law system. In our system, you are innocent until proven guilty by the state.
In their own, you're guilty,
and you have to prove yourself innocent.
That is what the colonialists do. They come, they have their gun, and they say your chief, it's not your chief anymore, and so your chief fights, they kill him. In fact, in Francophone system, I hear that they appoint chiefs because they destroyed the traditional chiefs when they went there.
But that is what they do because they want their own the people who are answerable to them to be in all those places.
So now let's now take this understanding and talk about what just happened a few days ago. Actually on Friday. Mm-hmm. On Friday, the Nigerian SS picked up Siseko, and they were in a cabinet meeting, and they picked up. Let me give. I think this is a piece where we need to give some information so that because people may not really have details about what's going on. I don't know if you've done any reading on this one. I'm trying to see. So they picked up Siseko, and along with him, I'm looking at some of the names.
There is Dr. Kimeng, there is Dr. Mfongalamfo, there is Fidelis there is Nawala, a bunch of others, I think about 9 of them.
Yes, I did not highlight that, but as we talk, I will take a look at it. So these people were arrested. Okay, so others were in Mfongalamfo, Fidelis Chair, Henry Kimeng, Cornelius Kwanga, a professor identified as Awasum, and a lawyer, Noela B. Mm-hmm. So those were the people who were picked up with Siseko. They said they came armed. Mm-hmm. And took them away. I understood that it was not picked up by the police. It wasn't by the military. I've read some reports where some Nigerian newspapers called the police and the military asking them, and they said they didn't pick them up. So it was picked up by a group called SSS, or is it DSS? Is it the same thing?
It's DSS, yeah, it's probably the same thing.
Yes. So they were picked up. And have you found any reason why they were picked up?
Well, there's a lot of speculation going on, and it's not only speculation on why they were picked up. Some people have said it was because of what happened on Monday, last Monday, January 1st, in Taraba State. Others have said it was.
What happened? What happened in Taraba State?
Whatever reason they were picked up. The only thing I can tell our people is that when you are in a struggle like this, things like this are bound to happen.
No, but let's give some information before going to analysis.
I don't want to give any information that I am not competent or credible that the information is right.
Okay, well,
so I am not going to be speculating and giving people information.
No, don't speculate.
It is speculation on the part of those people.
Don't speculate then. So what I know is that these people were picked up, and they are. Let me say this. I think the basic news is that they were picked up, and they were picked up with some of the names that we've called. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they are right now and what else is going on.
No, they are in the 3rd police district in Abuja.
Okay.
That is where they are being held.
So I want you. So what now? There's an issue, and I don't know if you make an issue, but I will. Mm-hmm. What did the interim government report last evening?
Well, this is what I want to first of all tell our people. Like I was saying, what I was saying is that I know people are heartbroken. You have every reason to be heartbroken because this is not what we expected. But what I'm going to tell you is that things like this are going to happen as far as this struggle is concerned. If you look at the people who are fighting for you are going to go to prison for you. And this is part of it, if it is something that somebody did and the Nigerian government, is holding them accountable for it, for them to answer for it, that is a good thing. So the people are doing it with pride. they are ready to go to prison, they are ready to die for you. So it is something that you people should understand, that there are people who are going to sacrifice their comfort, sacrifice their livelihood, and sacrifice things like this to get the struggle moving forward.
All right.
That is a very important thing, and I think that shows you the kind of leaders that you have. And I am glad that you people believe in these people and you have chosen these people, and they are going to go to bat for you.
Okay, but I want to be a little more systematic in the way I approach this, okay? And there's a reason why I'm doing that. Last evening, I was very traumatized.
Yeah, when you said...
let me say this. I was traumatized for hours, actually, before it got clarified what was going on, because the interim government put out a piece saying that La Republique people adopted them, and that traumatized me. Okay. And what I want to say, and I'm going to say it, what I want to say is that please don't put out any information if you don't know, because we take that information to be true, and many people were traumatized until the real news came out.
Yes, you have a reason to be traumatized. And when you live in an age of social media like this, where things are moving very fast and things are moving and things are fluid, well, they did not, I think at the point of their writing, what they could have told the people is that we are not sure, but the way they were arrested at gunpoint and things like that, we had to call that hotel to find out from that hotel. But that is something that they could have done. We had to call that hotel to find out from the manager of the hotel, and it is the manager of the hotel that confirmed that it was this department of the Nigerian police that came and arrested them, or the Nigerian Secret Service that came and arrested them. So yes, you are right that they put out information that was not correct. Those are mistakes. Mistakes are made sometimes, but things are moving very fast. People want answers. People are asking. People are calling, and mistakes are bound to be made. And I hope they can correct those mistakes.
Yeah, I don't want that anymore. I want that when I hear information from my government, I want to believe it, because I was traumatized. I canceled a lot of things because of that. And then until when Reuters came out and I read their reports, and I read that they had called Nigerian officials and they confirmed, then I knew that actually, you know what, let Nigeria get into this thing now. Okay, let Nigeria get into this thing. This is not the first time Nigeria is hearing about our case.
But I think you have to understand that even I don't think it was the Nigerian government that ordered that arrest to be done. I don't believe that, because if it was the Nigerian government, it would have been done differently. So I think somebody sat down and decided that he had the powers to do what they did, or he had the authority to do what they did. So what I'm trying to tell our people is that we are going to get more answers as time goes on. But as information is coming out, some people are saying they have been released and things like that. People are just trying to put that information there that they don't understand. And we don't have all the facts. The Reuters, that person was writing from Senegal.
No, but they okay, let me do this, okay? They were picked up yesterday by he writes SS, but I've seen DSS. In fact, on the uniform, I thought I saw DSS.
So then you
came with guns and ammunition to the hotel when they took them away. They arrived for a meeting of the high command of the leadership of the Ambazonian Republic. But I think that one of the things that we do on our show is that we usually give facts and then we analyze them and give our own, thinking about it so that our people benefit. Because facts are just facts. Wisdom comes from what you can deduce from those facts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I wanted to talk about what the interim government did, because how it affected us. It affected a lot of people. It affected a lot of people because when they said they were adopted by gunmen and they were very clear that it was La Republique, then we knew that they're in the hands of beasts. You know what I'm saying? In fact, I already was writing the obituaries, and so please be more cautious the way you put out information next time, and because when I get traumatized, it shortens my life.
No, that is true. I mean, yes. You are perfectly right that they shouldn't. Because I wrote in our own forum that Chris Ano did not have all the facts, even though that press release that he had put out. He did not, and it is always nice to put a disclaimer there that you don't have all the facts, but this is what has happened. Our president and a certain number of cabinet members and advisors have been arrested. We are working on it. We will get you the information when we have details available. Something like that would be...
It would be appropriate.
Yeah, it would be appropriate.
Yes.
But I think, too, if you look at the way they were arrested, and I don't know, I mean, everybody in Africa carries guns, whether it's the police or they go as if they are going to war. So that, too, might have encouraged them to do what they did. But I don't know. I'm not...
Man, Chris, I know he's a journalist, so I expect a little more from him. I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to give any excuses.
Yeah, but let me say this, okay? You said that it was not the Nigerian government, but let me say this is published by the Premium Times of Nigeria, reported by Evelyn Okaku. She says that in December, a delegation from Mr. Biya was received by Nigerian Vice President Yemi Osibajo. The government said at the time that the purpose of Mr. Osibajo's meeting with the Cameroon delegation, led by the country's Minister of Territorial Administration and Decentralization, Rene Sadi, was to strengthen diplomatic ties between the two nations. Then she writes, she says, our sources, however, said that the meeting was also meant to broker a secret agreement for Nigerian security officials to help arrest about 15 people declared wanted by the Cameroon government. Mm-hmm. So that's what Nigerian papers are saying. Mm-hmm. So you think Nigerian government's hand is not in this? I mean, the DSS is part of Nigerian government.
Yeah, well, what I'm trying to tell you is that the DSS there are people who act for whatever reason, and this person, people write a lot of stories. That is why papers get sued. Until the Nigerian government, until we go to the Nigerian government and it comes out and puts out a statement that it is responsible for detaining these people, I am not going by what somebody writes because they want to sell the paper. That's my position. I mean, you can look at it differently, but that is my position. And we are the people who have been detained, some of them are refugees, some of them have refugee status in Nigeria, and the Nigerian government, under international law, has a right to protect refugees. And even if that is what was agreed between the La Republique Minister of Territorial Administration and the Nigerian government, that is fine. When they are arrested, La Republique has to seek an extradition treaty. They have to seek an extradition from Nigeria for them to be extradited and repatriated to La Republique. That has to go through the court system. So in every way you look at it, even if that is the agreement that they had, there are processes that have to be followed, and we'll see.
All right, Pa, yes, it's true that in an information age, information comes fast, right? Mm-hmm. But you deal with the facts that you have. So right now, there's certain. I want us to do some of these assumptions so that we can have an intelligent discussion about what is possibly going on and what.
You can't talk about facts and assumptions in the same sentence.
No. You can do assumptions by first of all establishing some facts. That's why I'm quoting. This is not the only newspaper that's saying that. The Concord also published the same, pretty much the same thing.
Well, I can tell you that the Concord at one time had reported something that you and I found out not to be true. There are so many things I have written about this struggle and what is happening in Nigeria that is not true. So, and it is meant sometime to bring traffic, and you have talked about that on this show.
All right. Okay. Let's. I think I've given what I know about this story. I don't want to weaken Nigeria. Nigeria is not such a weak state where some people be traveling in arms and go and pick and have intelligence enough to go into Siseko's meeting and arrest him, and we're not hearing about terrorism in Nigeria right now. So I would assume that the Nigerian government is doing that. They know what they're doing, but that their hand is in this arrest. Otherwise, they are responsible to produce these people because. You talk about the heart of Abuja in Nigeria. So this is not so I will assume that they were arrested by the Nigerian government, but I feel comfortable because just like we discussed, Nigeria is a country of laws. The judiciary there is an independent judiciary, and these journalists are free journalists, like they are in any other country. The freedom of press in Nigeria is so Chiroma cannot ask this particular journalist who elected you. So he's a they're free journalist in a free newspaper publishing facts, and I think that they stay in business by reporting what people can go by. If they start reporting falsehood that people can go by, people won't buy their papers, and that's what a free market does. So when I say I was traumatized, I had events that I was going to attend yesterday. I didn't go when I heard that they were arrested by the Republic government. What did not add up in my mind was, in the heart of Abuja, the Republic government will come. I mean, I was thinking of Israelis and Entebbe, and I was like, no, La Republic can't do anything like that. And I'm like, okay, so if they came by plane, where did the plane land, and where are they going to take these 10 people and line them? So the story was not adding up for me. And so I was already counting dead bodies, because I think any country is capable of paying thieves to go and do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I really decided to talk about Chris Anu's thing, because that set a lot of wheels in my mind turning that were not good. And a lot of people, after I got the news, I had to calm down a lot of people that had called and they were traumatized. So I think that this thing is in the hands of the Nigerian government. I trust the Nigerian government to do the right thing, and I trust the Nigerian system to work, even if the Nigerian government does not want to do the right thing. So that's where I am on this. Now, and I really did not want to discuss it, but I want to discuss it because there are a lot of people from La Republic who follow us. You know what I'm saying? And my reading is that from social media is that a lot of them were very happy. They were celebrating that Siseko has been arrested and all that bull. You know what I'm saying? In fact, they were as happy as they were on September the 22nd, on October 1st. And so at every turn of our struggle, they have been happy. But I wanted to let them know that our struggle, that we determine our history as individuals. We determine what happens to us. And in that determination, we expect things like this to happen, like you started saying. You know what I'm saying? We expect things like this to happen, but we expect to have resolutions of them, and we think that we will triumph in those resolutions because our complaints are genuine. Regardless of what the UN says, regardless of the claims of La Republique, regardless of anybody. Because in the final analysis, our rights are not given by anybody. They are given by God. And anybody who comes and does not enhance them will definitely face opposition from us. Speak, Pa.
Well, I don't know where to start, but let me say this. I am glad that they are rejoicing in our setback. Let me put it that way. But remember that it was by doing and daring that Rome was built. If you don't dare, you will not succeed. So these are cowards. People who have been intimidated into their shells. People who don't have the audacity to question the conditions in which they live. People who because of us, they can stand up today and say it is because of the 6 people that died in Bamenda in 1990 that they can stand up today and claim some kind of
political diversity
or multipartyism.
Multipartyism, yes.
It is because of us.
Yes, it's because of us that they can even just get visas to fly out anywhere.
Yes, and it is some of them are sitting in this country because they came and asked for asylum because of what we are doing. So
slow it down. Don't rush that part. There are a lot of francophones who are in this country who ask for asylum as SCNC members, as SDF members. I have a story where actually a member of La Republique government who just flew here recently defected, and you know what her asylum reason is going to be? That they asked her to go fight in Ambazonian, and she refused, and therefore she's a target for murder by La Republique. Okay. And this person has never, and all of this is not true. So yes, they've benefited a lot from us.
Yes. So they can. I'm glad that you threw some light on that. But they can stand and laugh at this setback that we have experienced. But I can guarantee you that I would leave at any time with my head high over my shoulders, because I know that I am fighting for what I believe in. I know what I believe in, and I will die for what I believe in. Those people that are laughing at me, they don't know, they don't believe in anything. All they know is that it is night, they go to sleep, it is daytime, and they wake up.
Thank you.
If they can find food to... So they and the animals and the birds that fly in the skies, they are not any different. Yeah. That is what separates us.
You are right on the money. You are right on the money. Let me say, I'm sorry, I'm kidding. You are right on the money, because the problems we're having are problems of a people going somewhere.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? There are problems of people who are going somewhere, they meet the potholes and they jerk around.
Yes.
They even meet a breakdown somewhere and had to call a mechanic to come and fix. They have a flat tire. But these are the problems of people going somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's why when I heard that it was Nigeria, I'm like, yes, let's resolve this particular part, because Nigeria needs to be playing a role.
No, and these stupid people who are laughing don't even know that in one of the court cases in the High Court in Abuja,
we won that.
So they don't know. I myself, I have been arrested in Nigeria. I mean, I was detained. I couldn't leave because I had overstayed my visa. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I sat in the customs office. You know what? We spoke for 2 hours. We were talking about this trouble.
Yes.
We were talking about that court case in Abuja.
Yes.
And you know.
So Nigeria is very familiar with our story.
So these people, they can say whatever. They can laugh. But I tell you, my people, you should not be ashamed of the struggle that you have embarked on. You should not be discouraged, because what are you fighting for? You are fighting for a vision. You are fighting for an idea. You are fighting for the spirit of your people.
The spirit of humanity, the human spirit.
You want your children and your parents who have worked to receive the pensions from which they have worked. You want them to travel on good roads. You want them to have hospitals. You want them to have schools. You want every person in your community to be gainfully employed. That is something for which you are fighting. These people over there, why are they sending their children to our schools? Because we build a better system, better than what they have. Why couldn't they educate their children over there? Why are they coming over here? There are more of them in our territory than any of us in their territory. Yep. Even though we don't have anything in our territory. Why are they coming over? Because we have something better. And we want to expand and develop that idea, that thing that we have better. That is why we are fighting.
I'm going to go back to repeat myself here. And what I'm going to repeat myself in saying is that the problems that we as Ambazonians are having are problems of people going somewhere. And we're meeting challenges. And we're overcoming those challenges. And those challenges, for each of them, they make us stronger. They know ourselves better. And so it's guaranteeing. We expected all these problems. They've been thrown at us, and we have. Look, like I said, after I heard that they were not picked up by Larapoli, I went to my party, right? Mm-hmm. But because I think that this is an opportunity for us to make our case in a court of law, or in a country that has opportunities where because people still call us secessionists, they still call us all kinds of names. When they do that, I think that they don't understand our story. And so this is a situation where we are going to expose our story. We've already done a lot of work, but I think the Nigerian courts are only going to help us to do even better. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we are good. We are good. And what has just happened only makes us stronger. And it will make the interim government even stronger, because, my goodness, like you were saying, La République took our government a long time ago. We have worked really, really hard to give ourselves a government. I think all Ambazonians know that the interim government is our government, and the only job they have, because we lost our government, we've installed our government. After that, this government is going to secure us working with this government. We're going to secure our territory, and that's really the struggle going on right now in Manfe.
No, see, let me add something before you go to Manfe.
Okay.
Just to underscore what you said about these guys laughing at us. If their forefathers, the Omnu Base, and all the UPCs who died fighting for an independent La République du Cameroon, mm-hmm. if they turn in their graves, who would they be laughing at?
No, they'll be laughing at them.
Exactly.
They'll be laughing at them.
So, and I have said this on this show, these are people who have been educated to think in a certain way. But there are people in their communities. Look, we are not painting everybody with the same brush.
No.
There are people, and that is why I am talking about these UPCs, the OMU base, and people who fought and died for that country that they believe that is doing so well. Go and read that book, La Guerre du Cameroon. You will know exactly what those people did to you. Look at the train wreck in Exeter. Look at the way your country is going down. Compare that country to what it was, even though it was not the best. Why was multipartyism crushed in your country before 1966? Why? What did you do about it? Because we had multi-party elections up till when Muna and Ahijo connived and did the coup d'etat and deposed Joa.
No, but we're going to go back there, Pa. I think you've made your point clear, and I think that point was made very clear when you asked the question, where would all the UPC people, who would they be laughing? Yes, because it was a fight. Really, people don't even understand why the UPC fought. The UPC's fight was they wanted to give a true independence to La République, because what they saw coming was what we have, which is a truncated and it's not even truncated. It's a forgery of independence, and that's what La République has. That's what we've been hitting our head on for 57 years, and we are done with it. And La République has been. They played the ostrich card, meaning that they bury their heads in the sand, and like one of their ministers say, we'll get hungry and come back. We did not get hungry and we didn't come back. Then they while they were burying their head in the sand, we're working on educating our people and motivating them, taught them everything, developed systems. Now we have them. We have them in their mind. We got them the mind. You can never take that away. All right. Then now we are struggling to secure. Then we've given ourselves a government which was taken away. You know, when they went and picked Bala and the rest, they were picking so that there should be nobody who is coordinating us. We formed one in Nigeria. You're attacking it. You're only going to make it stronger after this event in Nigeria. And then the next thing that will happen is that we will secure our territory, and then we'll build that economy you're talking about. The one thing you did not add in the economy part is that we will make our own computers. We will make anything that we want to make. You know what I'm saying? We're not just going to be a consumer base like La République is a consumer base for French goods. They just keep it as a market, because one of the big things about colonies is that they want it to be a place where they get raw materials and a market where they dump their manufactured goods. And so La République is playing those two roles very well. One, they codified by law that they own all your minerals, both on top ground and below ground. And the only thing you have is the food you can eat. And then the second thing is that if you're trying to produce anything that can compete with their own industry, they'll shut you down. And so you're functioning exactly the way the colony is supposed to function, a market and a source of raw material. We are going to stop all of that in our territory. And I think that's what Sissoko has been saying too, that after 4 years of our independence, somebody coming from Kombo will stand and look at Santa and like, wow, and now I see what these people were fighting for. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's come down to Mangu, because that is the fight for the territory. And I always say this. The good news with Mangu is that La République thought that they're going to come in like Rambo and somehow things will happen. They fell flat. They're coming up with a new strategy. Discuss that strategy, but I know you have it in writing, but what is that strategy?
Well, we have discussed that Elogby, who was the person who was appointed to execute this war, came up with a strategy. And the strategy is that they have to lie to the people. What the strategy is, they believe that they should send only Ambazonians who are serving in the Republic Army. Because if they send only Ambazonians who are serving in the Republic Army and they go to Mangu and they get killed, then the corpses will not be coming to Douala and Yaoundé and Bolova and all those other places where it is going to create mayhem within the people and make the war very unpopular. The corpses will be going probably to Mangu or to Bamenda or to Nkambe or to Ndu or wherever those people come from, and then it will just be buried like every other person, and the story will just end like that. So the war will not be unpopular. That is still a lie, because one, it is a lie in the first place because they have been telling you that war is going very well. So obviously the war is not going very well.
I think you're rushing something which is news that are people's. So the news, what you just said is that the new strategy is that they're gonna send Anglophones, what they call Anglophones, to go fight the war in Manu, because when they go to Manu, they kill them. It will not have an impact in La Republique, and they will bury them in our territory. Obviously, they're discovering that the TV show that they went and made was a big blunder, right? And you know, when I was talking about that TV show, you were saying that the numbers are not that they're being defrauded. I think so they don't want any more cops and any more protests from. You see why we say these people don't treat us as part of them?
Yeah, because that is it. That's an example. That is an example, though. You can go into many other places to look at those examples. You can even listen to when they talk. You know, when they say something different in English, and if they dare to, and they come and say something in French. So that is it. And we have been calling on our brothers in the military not to, because you are now being used as a boogeyman. You are the boogeyman. Well, a boogeyman is basically you are going to be doing the dirty work for the Republic, because you know, even the war in Marwa, the war against Boko Haram, it has been mostly our people who have been sent over there, right? So it has been mostly our people who have been sent to go and fight over there. So this is not the first time. So a local bit is just trying to take what was used in Marwa against Boko Haram and bring it to Manu, so that it should be our people that are dying while they protect their own.
You know, this fits very well with that theory of extinguishing us in our land. Remember that there's a story that's been circulating that after Brazil, what's the country after what's the country south of Brazil that fought a war with Britain like that?
Oh, Argentina.
In Argentina, there were a lot of black people there, but they were all sent to wars, and that's where they got killed.
The Balkans.
And right now you go, there are not very many black people in Argentina. In fact, there are no black people in Argentina anymore. And so La Republic is using the same strategy, sending Ambazonians into their wars so that they can kill them. You remember they were recruiting in Manfe, so they were recruiting in Manfe to send them back to go and fight in Manfe, so that it's brother killing brother.
Yes.
You understand? So that is the new military strategy to fight us, because they did not believe that we can fight, and now we're fighting and killing, and they're deciding who will die in their military. Please make sure it's not you. But that's not only the problem with the military power. It is also said that they can't even feed the military.
No, they can't feed themselves.
So that story is there. We don't have time to read this, but can you also explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, there was actually a directive from the presidency sending somebody to go to Manfe and find out why, because it looked like there was going to be a riot within the La Republique military guys who were there. Like
it happened in the north.
Yes, like it happened in the north. You saw them blocking the road in the north because they had no food. So they were sending somebody there to go and find out what is happening with. They are supposed to be fed, then they are supposed to be paid an allowance. So none of that is happening. Either the food is not there, or somebody is taking the money and keeping it, just like they do all the time.
It's a very corrupt country.
Yes.
So the story is that some of them, they sleep on the ground, hard ground, and then they go and get food from the villagers.
But you saw it on October 1st. They were breaking down people's houses and stealing food.
Yes.
We talked about it here.
Yes.
So these are not things that people say we just go and talk about these things. But with time, you see that it is true. And that is the same thing in Manfe. They are begging, they are breaking, they are stealing from people, because they send them to come and do all this and kill our people and beat our people, but they cannot feed them.
Now, one of the things that we do on this show is that we get the story, we get the facts. In fact, what I was looking on my phone, I wanted to read you that the strategy to only send Anglophones to the fight. We have the strategy here. It was spelled out. We have the document, and then this one about how they sleep on hard floors and go and beg food. I'm hesitating using the word beg, because these people are thieves and they use guns to do a lot of things. So I doubt that La Republique come and say, "Ma, are they hungry? Give me chop."
Yeah, here is it. There have been complaints among soldiers and colonels that the Cameroon army soldiers sent to fight in the southern Cameroon had not been paid allowances. Many are hungry and cannot fight on an empty stomach. Colonels on the ground are complaining that funds have been embezzled and have not reached the soldiers on the front. The Director of Military Justice, Sylvester Geofak, and the Deputy Director of Budget and Equipment, Simon Etunde have been sent to investigate if the funds intended for the soldiers have been embezzled by the generals. They are also charged with finding out the morale of the troops on the ground in the face of these complaints. They do not want the soldiers to turn their guns on their officers or mutiny as they did in Gaundari last year. Here is a quote. Pretoria, South Africa is military code for Mamfe Southwest. It is a messy situation with corruption in the army. Even equipment is lacking. The soldiers literally have to sleep on the hard floors, go and look for food in town, and then get ready to fight.
Yeah.
So that is the story.
That's the story. We didn't write that story. But I just wanted to let people know that on this show, what we do, we get our facts, we come and put our own analysis with it, and we share it with our people because we need this information to keep us going.
And to support that, here is a document, the mission order from the Ministry of Defense in the Republic of Cameroon, sending this general to Mamfe. So it is in French. I won't read it, I won't bother, but it was supposed to go from the 10th to the 16th of January 2018. So next week he'll be going to Mamfe, and this is signed by Asomo Joseph, that is the Minister of Defense.
Yes. So I think one of the things that Ambazonian should really be sleeping well, because I was talking to a friend of mine and he thinks I'm too optimistic. I said no. If you have information and you've seen a trend, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You could be very optimistic about our struggle that we are going to be free, because 8 million people cannot be made slaves or cannot be taken from free people and then put in a colonial empire. Even the UN cannot do that.
Yes. And as we have said always, we are going to have setbacks. People are going to die. And even if those people die, or even if our leaders, whatever happens, even if they are in the dungeons of the Republic, like those that we have now, the struggle will continue.
Yes.
We will continue the fight until we get to where. And I have listened to people, I have spoken to people on the ground, I have heard the resolve that the people have resolved about this particular issue, and it has only intensified their willingness to go all the way. And I hope that you guys keep that spirit and keep the fight. And remember, there is no gain without pain. Absolutely.
And I checked the social media when the bad news was out. I was looking at it. Everybody was like, this is not a fight about one man, this is a fight about Ambazonia. And I mean, the spirit, when you look at our struggle and you look at the resolve of our people, even in the face of an adversity like the whole interim government not sure where it is, people were still very resolved that we will move on. And I can tell you, if you have asked Seseko, that's the same thing he would say. That if I fall, please continue. Because this is not a fight about any one of us. It's a fight of the people, and the people as a collective. There's no doubt that we're going. La Republique, before La Republique goes to Nigeria and start manufacturing some of these deals that will not work in a free country, that they can see the trouble in front of them. So we are free people, and if we continue with our freedom and act freely without fear will change sides. Any more power? Otherwise, we're good.
No, we just want to thank our people and keep up the faith, keep up the spirit, and let's keep marching forward to Biya.
Thank you.